Well, WK Kellogg, the cereal side of what was formerly Kellogg, is out with quarterly results, and they say a lot about the state of the consumer. Here with more, we've got my good friend Yahoo Finance's Seana Smith pulling up for the conversation.
I know, it's an honor to be on Wealth here with you, Brad, and even more time together this morning.
My goodness, I'm a longtime viewer of Catalyst as well.
All right, let's talk about what we're learning from the consumer and the latest here when it comes to this report that we're getting out from Kellogg, because it's clear from the numbers that consumers are pulling back. And that was my big takeaway so far from Kellogg's results. Net sales for the first quarter, well, they fell about 2% from a year ago. Now, despite that decline, it did, however, come in above the street's expectations. Higher prices helping to offset that drop in volume. So let's get to a critical part of this report. Now, Kellogg saying that its price mix actually rose 6.3% in the first quarter. Now, price mix, it's a very closely watched metric within the sector here, and it includes that the price of the items as well as the product's mix sold. So, for example, Kellogg might have been selling more of one type of cereal than the others, and that would have helped that product's mix line. So if the price mix here increased 6.3%, then Kellogg is making more money overall. But a key part of this report, though, is also volume. And this is when I'm talking about the weaker consumer here, Brad. This is where this is really highlighted, because that actually fell 7%. So volume is simply the amount of the product sold. So Kellogg is making more money thanks to higher prices. And that, at least for now, is enough to offset some of the pressure that we're seeing in other parts of the business and enable them to beat the street's expectations. So consumers are pulling back on their spending. And this is a trend that we've also noticed in other earnings reports this season. Kellanova, the spinoff that includes Kellogg's snack products like Pringles and Pop-Tarts, well, they actually reported a nearly 5% drop in volumes during the first quarter. Its CEO telling Yahoo Finance that he's working to avoid any more price hikes because of that.
We're working very, very hard on productivity initiatives and other things so that we don't have to take any more price and, in fact, can return to promotional activity and merchandising activity.
We've also heard from Mondelēz's CEO. He told Yahoo Finance that the lower income consumer is facing a tremendous amount of pressure.
It's not that we particularly want to increase our prices. We would prefer not to, as you can imagine. But the inflationary environment is not easing at all. And so I think the consumer sees the prices, the interest rates, the job market isn't great. Like I said, the SNAP benefits disappear. So they're being hit from many different angles, and it's clearly noticeable that it is affecting them.
So the consumer is under pressure. It's clear from those comments. And even over at Starbucks, customers are starting to spend a little bit less, or at least visit the store less frequently. The U.S. foot traffic at the coffee chain dropping 7% in its most recent quarter. Starbucks CFO Rachel Ruggeri acknowledging the challenges around the customer.
Our occasional customers, we started to see it softening faster than what we had expected. And frankly, we didn't respond fast enough.
So higher prices, people aren't able to afford maybe what they once were just a few quarters ago. We're starting to see that come up in these earnings reports here, Brad. And I think the question here for so many investors, when you take a look at the latest earnings results that we're getting from so many of these consumer staple companies or even consumer discretionary companies in some aspect, is how much pressure is a consumer going to continue to be under as inflation remains relatively sticky? And then also what that ultimately means for these companies' bottom lines here over the coming quarters as well.
And if I got to go back to eating cereal for dinner, I don't know.
I love cereal for dinner.
I mean, it's got to be Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite. Wow.
Done deal.
We always agree.
There we go.
There we go.
Seana Smith joining us here on set for Wealth. Thanks so much, Seana.
Of course, thank you.